Okay, so I'm Kashanas here from How to Play, and I'm here with one of the developers, or let's say a PR guy from Gaijin, and he will be talking about War Thunder and Crossout for us today. So let's start.
Yes, I'm glad to be here in Katowice again because it's a very great event that attracts a lot of players from all over Poland and also media guys. And I'm just glad to be here again and to talk about our latest developments. So basically, what we are working on right now is our next huge update for War Thunder. It will be 157 update. We don't have an official name for it yet. And it's going to be released this March. And it will be dedicated to expanding the arsenal of all nations. In War Thunder, we are preparing a lot of new top-tier vehicles for every nation. And some of them are very unique. And like, for example, we are adding German Dornier 335 heavy fighter. It's one of the most unique planes of World War II. It has propellers in the back and in the front. It's very funny looking, but it was actually built, and like more than dozens of them were built. And we studied the documents, and the photos that were left to recreate this unique plane. And soon our players will be able to get their hands on it. And also we are adding more flying boats into the game because last fall we integrated NVIDIA WaveWorks technology into War Thunder, which allows us to create very realistic water surfaces. And it's not just for the special effects alone. It is actually affecting the gameplay. So when you are flying in flying boat and you are trying to land and there is this stormy sea, it is very hard to land your plane because the waves are interacting with your plane. They can overturn you if you are not careful. And in this update we are going to add several more flying boats for this mechanic to shine. And also there will be a couple of new maps. It will be winter maps. One of them is going to be set in Alps. So there will be this beautiful mountain landscape and some ruined villages and some ruined train stations, and it will be very intense fighting. And another new location will be Volokholamsk. So it is dedicated to the defense of Moscow, because this year it will be 75 years anniversary for the Battle for Moscow during winter of 1941. And we are recreating this location based on real defense plans. And also, I don't know, you probably know this, but we are cooperating with a studio that is making a historical movie. It's called 28 Panfilov's Men. It is dedicated to defense of Moscow as well. And we worked very closely with the team behind this movie, and they helped us with some secret documents and maps for this location. And our players will be able to recreate this famous battle in War Thunder, and we are very excited about this.
Yeah, so I would like to ask you, because I think that War Thunder was always about the immersion in the game. You have the great models, the HD models. When you ride a tank, it's leaving those tracks in the ground. So it's basically reacting, like you said, with the water, with the ground. And I just wonder if you're planning, because esports can be a little bit hard in this kind of environment when it's a little bit random. Don't you think it may be hard to find professional players to compete on the highest level when you have this kind of obstacles on the way?
Okay. Well, we are working on our own esports tournament mode for the game for a long time, and before the new year we launched our Thunder League, our first like esports professional tournament. And what we did, we reduced the team sizes because it is indeed so that in regular War Thunder matches there are like 16 versus 16 players, and it's very chaotic and very random, and it's hard to influence the outcome of the battle when there is like 32 people fighting each other. But in this new tournament mode, there is like 6 versus 6 players, and there are special rules for respawning, and it did work very well. So we are happy with the results, and we are already started the sign-ups for the next season of the Thunder League. So yeah, it comes down to preparing like special mode for esports to overcome the obstacles. And well, speaking of technology, we believe that it makes the game more impressive visually and more realistic, because we have this in addition to WaveWorks, NVIDIA WaveWorks technology. We are also using NVIDIA physics technology for the destructible environment, and it is much more realistic. When you have this village on your map, which is like some wooden houses, and you can destroy each of these houses, because this is what happened during the war. Like tanks were trying like to destroy some wall inside the house and hide inside the house to make for a perfect ambush, for enemy and we are recreating this in War Thunder. So it makes for a very, very realistic and very action-packed battles.
Yeah, so we also know that War Thunder is not the only one game up there, right? But I must say that War Thunder, for its like being realistic, is really, I think, really good, because we have other games that are a little bit more arcade, but this is the only one that is in fact trying to really go into the immersive state when you can use your Oculus Rift and get inside the plane, look around yourself and start a really, really nice game. Mm-hmm. But I've also heard that you're working on Crossout, right? So it's not only the esports and War Thunder and new planes, new stuff, but it's also building vehicles, is that right?
Yes. So that is correct. We are working with Targim Studio, the one who made Star Conflict. And now we are working together on a new game which is called Crossout, and it is a post-apocalyptic car combat game. And one of the main features of this game is the ability to create your own armored cars. And basically, unlike War Thunder, in War Thunder we are using like historical, realistic models of famous tanks and famous planes, but in Crossout there are no predetermined models at all. So players are given this huge box of like different parts, like wheels, tracks, cannons, chainsaws, spikes, armor plates, etc. So it's a sort of like Lego box, and you can build anything you want with it. So as long as it has like at least like 3 wheels and it can go out to battle without like flipping to the side, you can use it in battle. And we are in alpha stage right now, and there are only like a few thousand people playing the game, the testers. But they are already coming up with so crazy designs. There is no vehicle in Crossout is the same. There are like hundreds or maybe even thousands different versions already even at this stage. And when we start like closed beta, which will be very soon, we'd like to see even more creativity and more like crazy designs that people will come up with.
Okay, so about creativity, this is the only thing that limits you in Crossout, right? But I want to ask you, because you said 3 wheels, are you planning on building 2-wheelers, like motorcycles, maybe with a, like, I don't know, gyroscopic stabilizer or something like that?
Well, for now, you need like at least 3 wheels to build, but there are also like tracks, like on tanks. for example, so you can combine tracks and wheels, something like this. And also there are these hovercraft engines which allow you to the hover above the surface. And for example, it gives you the ability to cross like some acid lake on some of the maps, and other cars can't go there. So it gives you some advantage, but you are more slower than cars on wheels. So it's the question of balance. You can build some very quick and deadly car, or you can build some very heavily armored mastodon with guns everywhere. But it will be very, very slow, and other players will be able to go in circles around you and destroy you. So you will have to think carefully about this.
Okay, also, you said that you can build different vehicles so with different abilities to destroy other vehicles. So just please tell me, what about the guns? Let's talk about the guns. What are the, I don't know, the barrels? Tell me the biggest barrel you can imagine.
Well, there are all kinds of weapons in Crossout. So there are machine guns, cannons, automatic cannons, miniguns. There are rocket launchers. There are lasers, and there are some special devices like cloaking device, which will turn you invisible for some short time. Or there are like some support drones that will fly around your car and support you and fire at enemies. And there are also melee weapons, like chainsaws and spikes and bumpers, and you can create any combination, because each weapon has its advantages and disadvantages. Because machine gun has unlimited ammo, for example, but it is very weak. It has low damage output, and it overheats if you fire it too much. On the other side, the cannon is very, very powerful, but you can only have like 10 shells during the combat, and it is reloading very slowly. So you have to think about it. Or like shotgun, for example, it's very powerful, but it only works like on very short distance, for example. And melee weapons, of course, you can only use them when you ram the enemy, but they are very powerful as well. So it's always about balance and the weight and the power output of your car, because you can't build the fast and heavily armored car at the same time. You have to use your power. And more powerful guns require more power, so you will have to install more power generators on your car, and it will become more heavier. So there are some limits to make it more balanced, of course.
Yeah, okay, so we've talked about esports and the Thunder League. So do you plan on any esports, because we're here on IEM Katowice and Spodek Arena, and do you plan on any esports for Crossout maybe later, because we know all the new games suddenly they get the esport teams and supports and sponsors, and all people want to play those games because they think that they can, like, I don't know, they can try to be those guys that we can see here in Spodek Arena playing on the big stage with a huge crowd. So do you plan on any of this kind of stuff for the Crossout players, the new players?
Well, we are thinking about this, but the game is in very early stage right now. It's still in alpha version, and then we want to make Crossout not only a PvP game, but also to have a very huge PvE element. So there are already PvE missions in alpha version, so players can go in co-op. Up to 4 players can fight, this wave of the bots, and they will earn some rewards for this. And there will be some kind of story in the game. There will be some quests that will tell you more about the world of Crossout. So it's more like story-driven than War Thunder, because developers are very fond of this universe that they created, and we are more focusing on this. But who knows? It's still have a PvP part in Crossout, so maybe there will be some esports or tournaments for it as well.
Yeah, I hope for that because esports right now is huge, and we all know that PvP brings the most emotions into the game from the players. They want to defeat the other player. So I would like to finish this interview by just like saying that it was a really nice job with the games. We have some huge barrels. You can play those big guns and kill all the players. So that's basically all, and I'm Kashanos from How to Play, and see you guys next time.